also not part of the stream. Man,
what is going on?
I don't know.
Our producer goes out of town one time. Oh, it still says going live soon.
Well, but right now it's only showing us live on YouTube.
Huh.
But it's not showing me live on YouTube here, which I'm on YouTube.
So edit that.
Well, I'm trying.
That's not what I meant, but all right.
That's what it says. That's the edit. This?
Uh-huh. So edit. We want to be live on that and on that.
Uh-huh.
And so
maybe now I think we're there. That only took like 5 minutes.
it's getting there. Wow. Was live. We're live.
I think we're going to be live again.
Maybe.
I hope so. Is anybody hearing us
We
at all?
are. Here we are. Yay.
Well, that's the old one, though. Is that the real live?
Yeah.
Okay, you're going to have to turn the audio off on that or we're going to get weird feedback. Okay. Welcome to the chaos that is us without a producer. So she's on a trip and we hope she's having a great time. So welcome. This is our Cocktail of the Month video.
It is.
I'm the Mad Farmer. This is my wife, Miss Mercy.
And hopefully you're seeing us either on the TSL Homestead Cocktail of the Month page,
right,
or on the Bessie L page,
or the YouTube channel, which doesn't seem to be really doing anything at this time.
So we'll get back with you on the
I think I got to skip an ad.
YouTube channel.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. So let's go ahead and power through, and hopefully some people are around there, and so we're hoping to find comments. So we'll see.
Oh, and another thing that we are doing, we have both computers on right now, so that's what we're looking at, because hopefully we'll be able to see comments if you comment on the Bessie L page or the TSL Homestead Cocktail of the Month page. We have been missing those comments, so hopefully you will be able to make
now we're
comments.
live on YouTube.
So, and there the YouTube page just went. So,
all right. So, in theory,
good
evening. Welcome to the July Cocktail of the Month. Sorry about the technical difficulties. We're powering through it. Eventually, in theory, we're going to get this so it'll be so smooth you won't even know it happened. Okay, it's probably a lie. We don't know.
All right. So, hopefully you're being able to see us. Of course, this says the June Cocktail of the Month.
Oh, we have a comment.
It's the July Cocktail of the Month.
Your brother can see us.
All right. Hello. So I don't know why it says the June Cocktail of the Month, but
so it's automatically translating for us. That's pretty odd. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Great.
Well, it's because I've got it on mute.
Oh, okay. It thinks we're disabled.
Yep.
All right. We're differently abled, I guess.
So we are hitting out into July. We're actually practically, kind of on the downside of July. And it's Kansas. It's hot.
We do have this. Always is on the third Sunday. So it's the odd thing is some of the Sundays, like in June, it was like this. It felt like it was just the first 2 weeks in.
Yeah, that's true.
So, but July's like flying by. This whole year's flying by, really.
That is true.
It's just nuts.
How is it already July?
Yeah, I mean, I was just getting ready, to get in my January weight loss goal, and here we are in July.
How's that working out for you?
Well, not too bad.
Okay.
I'm at Dr. Canberry. It's actually gone pretty good.
Good.
So if you're interested in action, no, we're not going to plug him. Oh, come on. Never mind. Contact us later.
At the end.
Oh, we'll do it at the end. All right. So anyway, it's going okay.
Good.
All right.
So
what are we going to do tonight?
You asked the best questions, Farmer. We are going to do an old-fashioned. Funny story, though. We thought we would do a sidecar. Turns out when we did our very first Cocktail of the Month, it was in fact a sidecar. So we decided not to do it again.
It was a couple of years ago. So it turned out we went back and looked at the video and we liked it just fine.
So but what that ended up being was a little bit of a scramble, if you will, to figure out what we wanted to do today. And we started thinking that we haven't done the old fashioned. So we
thought we had.
But we thought we had.
So it turns out that what we've kind of lately we've been kind of on like a 1920s cocktail kick, really. which except we've had some exceptions. The
Mhm.
Dragon Slayer, which was not a 1920s cocktail, but
Mhm.
more 1950s. But so we've done a lot. But the 1920s stuff is kind of Prohibition era that really kind of kicked off. It is the
Hello.
2020s. Oh,
Yay, 2 comments. That's awesome.
yeah, we're getting thumbs up.
Fantastic.
They're more like
So-
icons. But okay.
So the old fashioned is what we're going to be talking about.
Miss McGinnis is apparently not on a plane. All right.
Oh, she's somewhere flying around in the world. And so when we decided to do the old fashioned, part of the fun with that is that it's a pretty old cocktail.
Yeah, we've seen some videos. Some are saying, "Oh, wait, you have history?
I have history.
Let's hear about it."
So I went and I did a little looking because it's been around for a long time, and I found this little bit on the Difford's Guide, which is a fun place to go and find out information about cocktails. The old-fashioned whiskey cocktail is considered the original cocktail with its component parts: spirit, sugar, water, bitters. The word was first published May 13th, 1806 in the Balance and Columbian Repository, an upstate New York newspaper. And this was the quote that partial quote from the article, that the cocktail then is a stimulating liquor and is supposed to be an excellent electioneering potion, inasmuch as it renders the heart flout and bold at the same time that it fuddles the head. Fuddles the head.
It is tough to work that word into a conversation nowadays.
It absolutely is.
I mean, I think I could be befuddled perhaps, but I don't know if I could be standardly fuddled.
Just standardly fuddled.
Yeah.
Well,
so
anyway.
Could you do me a favor? Oh, you're looking at the comments.
I
was
am.
like, so on one screen over here, it's like our heads are like cut off, and I was like, what? But it's not actually a production problem. She's just watching the comments.
It's true, so I can respond.
Yeah.
Hey there in Iowa, Miss Jansma. So in the late 1700s, early decades of the 1800s, it was a pretty popular drink. And actually, George Washington was a big fan of whiskey. Just as a side note, I'm also making right now something that my brother turned me on to called Cherry Bounce. We had some cherries that I harvested from our cherry bush, and I put it with a quart of rye, and it is soaking downstairs right now. It will be ready a little later this month. I'll be happy to try it, but it was a George Washington favorite.
Funny story about the cherry bush. If you've never actually had a cherry bush before and don't know what they actually look like ripe, they do actually supposed to look like regular cherries. We thought maybe it was like a sour cherry, and they were like, pretty nasty if they're green and not ripe. So wait for them to ripen. Whole better deal. So
True story.
We didn't know.
We didn't.
I mean, we had people who my sister gave us the bush, and it's been doing okay. It was the first year we got fruit.
Really solid fruit. Yeah.
And so we thought, we were so excited, and we thought that was it.
Yes.
But it turned out we needed to wait a while.
Yes.
So, all right.
Much better on the second go. So by the 1870s, bartenders were putting kind of their own spin, fancying it up a little bit on the drinks. So folks started asking for old-fashioned whiskey cocktails without the fancy additions. And so that's what we're going to make tonight. And a little fun fact about Wisconsinians.
Let's go with Wisconians. If anybody from Wisconsin, please go ahead and comment on the correct pronunciation of, if you're from Wisconsin, what we should call you.
Wisconsonians.
We could just say cheeseheads.
Or Wisconsiners is what I thought it should be.
It could be, but I'm going to go with cheeseheads with Green Bay.
They like their old fashions with brandy. And the German immigrants brought this variation with them, and you can get it sweet, which is a splash of lemon lime soda, or sour, which would be sour mix. So that is some fun information. We also this month are going to have a mocktail version of this, so we will do that. But before we get too far down the path, we're going to pull up our recipe.
Okay.
One of the things that we discovered was, would you say this is a thing we discovered, that they make these things like all different kinds of ways?
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've seen them. I saw one offshoot recipe that made with rum,
mm-hmm.
which was odd,
mm-hmm.
But they use bourbon
mm-hmm.
and rye interchangeably.
Mm-hmm.
It turns out that rye whiskey was probably more popular. That's sugar cube. It turns out rye was probably more popular during Prohibition.
Would you like to? Oh,
here, let me advance.
Please do. Sugar cube.
All right. Did you know that it's difficult to find sugar cubes nowadays? You have to go to the baking section. It turns out that they do have C&H still makes sugar cubes. We looked. There was one version that used a brown sugar cube, but we don't have. I could not find brown sugar cubes locally. Now, the interesting thing in a serendipitous way, and I love that word.
It's a good word.
On the back of the package of C&H, look at this, a recipe for an old-fashioned cocktail. I don't know what that has to do with baking, except if you're drinking one, you're probably baking something. Or you're being baked, I guess, but I found it, so I went and found sugar cubes, and the first thing I saw on the back was a recipe for old-fashioned, so hey.
So we've got our sugar cube with a teaspoon of water, and then we're going to use 3 dashes of, wow. Crazy madness.
Good thing we own that book.
I know, right? You just sorry about that. There's an old fashioned in my Drinking with the Saints. Just spilled some bitters on it.
Yep. So now if you want to lick the page.
No, I won't.
Okay.
But we also are going to use our muddler.
That would be like the original Monk's version of Stretch and Sniff.
So we're muddling our sugar along with our water and bitters. We'll muddle that. And then we will be
muddling basically it is a term that means you're going to use this fancy thing to smash it up, and you can basically use a dowel rod or anything that's flat.
And then we're going to just put a couple of ice cubes in there. Whether you have large or small ice cubes, that's going to be just depending on what you have available to you.
We did see somebody though to say that larger ice cubes tend to be better because they don't melt as fast.
We're going to use Riverset rye, which is what we use for our perfect Manhattans as well.
Because we just can't seem to find Sazerac in Kansas at any time in reasonable quantities. Apparently it's prolific in Texas. You just go down there and get like party balls of this stuff or something, but not in Kansas. Although I actually read an article when I was researching the old fashioned that said that they think originally that they used bourbon for Sazerac. Really? Before they started making Sazerac whiskey.
Isn't that interesting?
I don't know if it's true. I've not sourced that to 2 different sources, so don't take that as a gospel truth.
And then we are going to garnish it
with our favorite cherry
and
a slice of orange
peel.
Orange peel. This is yes.
So we're going to take
I've seen a version where they actually garnish it with an orange slice in the drink and a cherry with a stem, but Luxardos don't have stems, so I don't know what kind of inferior.
And there it is, just like that.
And this is not a shaken, even though typically if you have fruit in a drink, they would typically shake it, but this is just stirred.
Yep.
And done in ice.
Yep.
So, you care to try it?
You may give that a try.
All right. Well, here we go. Let's see. Oh, here's the instructions.
Oh, yes. Right?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay. Let's try it.
Go ahead.
It's pretty good. The orange, I can actually smell the orange.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Which is since my sense of smell is not great, that actually enhances it quite a bit. Now, it is a little sweet.
One of the things that I would say is that I can see the sugar in the bottom of the cup. They do, some of the recipes we saw suggested simple syrup just because it may mix a little better than the sugar. So that is going to be our regular.
Oh, and as the ice chills it, it actually kind of changes the flavor profile a little bit.
Perfect.
Because I'm getting a little more of the bitters out of it. That's really quite nice.
Good.
And I'm sure there's probably lots of variations we can pull off on that.
I'm sure there are. So we've also got this evening a mocktail version of this recipe, and we found this one at mocktail.net. And so the recipe that we're putting up here, it's going to make 2. I'm only going to make 1 of them. So we will go ahead and do the 2 cups of hot water. I steeped this tea a little earlier today. The Good Earth is kind of a sweet and spicy. So
you can use a regular black tea.
You can use regular black tea, and that also works out pretty well. And again, the 2 sugar cubes could be replaced by simple syrup. Yes. So in this instance, I'm actually going to take the same thing. I'm going to use a sugar cube.
I'll just drink this over here.
Sure. I'm going to take the sugar cube. I'm going to put an orange slice in here. I'm going to go ahead and use the whole orange slice. I'm going to put a little bit of water in just to kind of soften up the sugar cube. And then I'm also going to put in 2 dashes of the bitters over here so I don't get it on my book again.
We can be taught.
Right?
Not well.
And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go ahead and muddle it.
Do you want to muddle it in front of people? Or?
The muddler, you can, crazy Facebook. muddling. It's just kind of just going like that, kind of getting the juices, everything out of it. We're putting that all together. And then I'm going to take a 1/4 cup of the tea that I brewed earlier, and I'm just going to pour that right in. I'm going to give it
in the interest of full disclosure, we don't taste the cocktails before we do those on air because we want to give you an honest reaction to what those taste like. With the mocktails, we do actually make those in advance and try them out because what we don't want to do is make a mocktail and say that we like it or don't like it and have it be something that we're not fond of, because the mocktails seem like it's pretty important. If you're going to make a faux drink, you want it to be pretty good.
And so we will, and the difference here too is going to be the cherry, which I didn't put in the one we tried earlier. So we're going to do that.
I'm going to move this book.
That's fine.
Because
and
we got something else.
Maybe eventually I'll be able to get one of these cherries out of here.
Two cherries is okay. If it requires 2 Luxardos, it does. I mean, it'll be all right.
All right. So here is our mocktail. And doesn't that look pretty much like our original? So
It's
side by side,
close.
it's pretty close to what we've got going on there. So this calls for 1/4 cup of the tea. And I think that that's going to be a pretty nice comparison. You could see the 2 ounces of what the rye was like. So we're going to give this a little, yeah.
But they really look very close.
They do look very close.
And so
this one
of
has
all the mocktails we've tried, that was actually looks probably the closest to the actual drink.
I like it.
And we did try it.
We did.
It's actually very light. It's refreshing. It's got it clearly doesn't have the alcohol taste to it, but it's definitely something different, that you could actually make.
Oh, yep. Feel free to ask questions or comment. And the thing that I really liked about this one was that using the just little bit spicy tea, the sweet and spicy from the Good Earth, it gives it a little bit of
kick.
I think a little more depth of flavor. I think black tea probably would just be straight black tea, but this iced is really lovely. Actually, I'm very happy with it. I would be happy to drink it.
One of the other things that we did find is that you can use, in theory, orange bitters instead of the orange itself.
Mm-hmm.
So our producer had gifted us with some orange bitters. Mm-hmm. And so you may not need to keep oranges around or go get them for this particular drink. If you can just put in a couple drops of the Angostura bitters and a couple drops of orange bitters and replicate that, then you're probably, then you're good to go with a fast, easy mocktail that actually is quite nice.
Quite nice, actually. Yeah. Happy to have that.
So
before I forget, and before we say our goodbyes to you, please feel free to share any suggestions that you have for drinks. September's, we are going to do viewers' recommendation for our cocktail of the month in September. So feel free to post that on our TSL Homestead Cocktail of the Month page or my page.
And our new, we actually went to an Apollo launch party last night. We were invited by some friends who had a classmate that they'd gone to school with. Very cool dude. He's got a lot of space memorabilia and things like that. He's an artist. And I hope he gets to watch this, because at some point he introduced us to some Andorian brandy. There was a couple of other things.
Andorian ale.
And we didn't do the Andorian ale.
Queen Borg,
yeah. So he had some Star Trek based ales and drinks. And at some point, we're hoping in the future to invite him either live or via StreamYard to do some kind of sci-fi based cocktail mix, because I think it'd be a lot of fun. And Tim, if you're watching, we really enjoyed last night. It was a great time.
So we have this book that we use sometimes. It's our ESQ handbook for hosts, Advice to Men, from 1940s.
Actually, it's 1953.
53.
I looked it up.
Okay.
Because now, one of the things, this book has a lot of hosting advice. Now, it's a bit dated. We will absolutely say that. So it's kind of a hilarious read in some places. But here's one piece of advice that from the back of the book that I felt was actually pertinent. Gentlemen, keep an inexperienced girl from getting tight. And by tight, they mean drunk. Don't let any woman become indiscreet through liquor. Triumphs over drunken women don't help any man. And so I think that's actually pertinent advice from 1953 and a little forward thinking.
Yeah.
I was surprised to see that. But
I thought it was funny that the word that they used for drunk was tight, because I posted on my Facebook page earlier today about, the deck. You show your age by what lingo you can't let go of, the slang. And so tight was one that they used for drunk back in the day. So, well, we hope that you've enjoyed this episode of the Cocktail of the Month with the Mad Farmer and Miss Mercy. Please do feel free to share any drink suggestions that you've got, and we'll pick one of those out for the September show. And as we always say, possibly a couple. And as we always say, drink responsibly and get into the spirit of things.
Thanks for watching.
Bye-bye.